Hi, this is Voice Gone to Hell. Today we're going to be doing a theory that I came up with on my own when I was planning to do a Republic at War mod video, which I'm still going to make. Also, as a little bit of a side note, I've actually been creating my own sci-fi piece by piece, so if you'd like to have that, please tell me, and if you'd rather have Republic at War, also, please tell me. That's not important. That's not what we're talking about today. Today, we are talking about the theory of what if KAMINO is Earth. And just set aside the obvious fact for a second that Star Wars is a sci-fi and not a real universe. But in the Star Wars universe, as we've already seen before, there are plenty of sci-fis that involve Earth. Halo, Babylon 5, I believe Mass Effect, and dozens more as well. So, let's pretend that Earth is in the Star Wars universe for a second. Earth is on the fringes of the Milky Way galaxy, and it isn't really near the core. If we were near the core, we would actually be ripped apart, because we would be too close to the black hole for life to exist, based on what scientists know right now about black holes. Now, because we live where we do, and KAMINO is also on the outskirts of the Star Wars galaxy, in the exact same place if you just rotated our galaxy a little bit, it kind of makes sense. We could be KAMINO, but that's not the only piece of evidence pointing towards it. As you know, we already have climate change in our own country right now, and a lot of politicians are neglecting it, and not only in the country, but in the entire world. And these climate change symptoms affect us every day because they can raise water height, they can cause more storms, they can raise temperature, they can lower temperature, they can do all sorts of things, but specifically we're going to focus on that symptom, which is the raising and lowering of water height. And climate change obviously raises water height, at least in this version of climate change, the one where the heat goes up, because since it's getting hotter, the ice caps melt and water moves down very, very, very quickly and speeds up the rate at which the ocean fills up. Now, a very similar thing happened on KAMINO, where a massive flood caused the entire planet to become an ocean in an incredibly short amount of time, and it forced the Kaminoans to adapt incredibly quickly and to crossbreed and clone the best of the best, so that only the fittest among them would survive. And of course, it's not exactly that good of an idea to do that, considering everyone has the same genetic copy, and now one disease can wipe out every single one of them. And they also evolved an evolutionary trait, which is that they looked a lot like fish in the Clone Wars, as we saw. And the only possible reason for that is because they were in the ocean for so long. So my theory is, we're seeing Earth go through the same changes that KAMINO is. So is it possible, nay probable, that in the Star Wars galaxy, the Kaminoans are just very, very evolved humans, and that all the remaining humans who left Earth are what is humanity in the Star Wars galaxy, and all the humans who stayed on Earth became Kaminoans, and as the planet was introduced into Republic lore, they decided to rename the planet KAMINO. Now, we already know how to clone things. For example, we made a clone of a sheep not that long ago, by putting an egg and a sperm from two different types of sheep into a totally different type of sheep, and it was able to create a clone. But obviously this isn't the normal type of cloning that we're used to in the Star Wars universe. The type where you take like a strand of hair, you plug it into a machine, and you let it do its thing. But I'm sure we'll get there. We're already studying ways to do that kind of thing, and as I already said before, the Earth is growing hotter and hotter and hotter, and the water levels are rising more and more and more. And that is why I personally think that in the Star Wars galaxy, Earth is KAMINO, and it would explain so many things. It would explain why E.T. is in Episode 2, because maybe E.T. is the beginning of his entire race, because actually there were a few E.T. aliens in Episode, I think it was 2 or 3, in the Senate building. The Senate building is that big thing with all of the round things that almost look like plates where senators stand on and they talk to the chancellor. Anyways, E.T.'s species was on one of those plates, one of those things, and it's possible At least it would make sense if the film E.T. actually tied in with the Star Wars galaxy, and when E.T. left Earth, he in fact went to the Star Wars galaxy to possibly avoid the Kaminoan flood. It ties in dozens of other things. For example, it would explain why the clone army was specifically human instead of any other different type of alien. We know Dirge was incredibly capable. He was able to heal at very fast rates, but perhaps it's just the Kaminoans picking Jango because he was human and he was more docile when you trained him correctly, or his clone counterparts, that is. Anyways, let me know if this makes any sense at all. I personally don't think it does, but if there's any possibility, I'd like to hear. And I think that's about it. Again, I'm gonna ask all of you to please tell me whether or not you want me to talk about that new sci-fi. We haven't exactly named it yet, but I've been working on it for a very long time, and it's only now that I realized that I was actually creating a sci-fi, but I have been working on this project since I was just around 5 years old, and I think it's very good. Obviously, I'm not keeping all the details from when I was 5, because then it would be absolute gibberish. But again, let me know if you want a video like that, or a Republic at War mod, or even a Star Wars Republic Commando. I know that was the last video that I did, but I can make another one if that's something that you guys like. And anyways, enjoy.